Today we're going to change the oil on the boat. I always change the oil at the end of the season, and about maybe 1 or 2 weeks left of the season. I'm going to be going out of town next week, so I'm not using the boat next week. Probably the following week I'll be getting closer to pulling the boat out. It's kind of hard to deal with. It's middle of September, it's about 80 degrees out, but weather's going to change soon. But anyway, I'll show you a few things that I picked up this year to help me with the boat. And I got one of these electric oil change things. You can find these at almost any boat store. You find them online. Get a good one. I bought a cheap one about a year ago, and it just didn't pull the oil. It won't even pull the oil out of my lawnmower. So go to like a boat store and make sure you get a good one. These are expensive, a couple $100, but they save a lot of time. If you're dealing with the big block motors like I got two 454s. They sell the manual pumps. Well, the manual pumps will probably take you 2 hours to drain one motor, maybe 3. The electric one, like 10 minutes, you know, and you're done. First thing you want to do is warm your engines up and make sure the oil is nice and warm. I went for a little ride today and got the oil hot, got the oil mixed up in the motors, and I've drained one already, and it just make sure before I videotape that I'm doing it correctly, you know, like as far as using the tool. So make sure that it worked out okay. It's the first time I've used it. I got it this year. Last year I manually pumped it out. No, first year I manually pumped it out. Last year I tried a pneumatic one, a tank that uses air from an air compressor. I had to bring a little air compressor down here, a tank, a bunch of hoses. Got it from Harbor Freight, and it did the job, but I wasn't too pleased. You know, it took forever. It was hard to regulate the air. So this bucket system that I got here, this oil change, is it hooks up to the batteries, which I'll show you in a minute. It's on a 12-volt system. You hook it up. On my motors, you can just put it right up onto the dipstick, and it's a good enough seal, and it pulls the oil right out. So I'm not a scientist. I don't know about these oils and things like that, but my motor calls for 2540. There's differences in oils from what I understand. I don't know the science behind it, but marine oil is, I guess, is different than regular automobile oil. I'm sweating a little bit, sorry. But so it's a little different. You know, you can leave me a comment in the comments if you know the difference. I'm not sure. I've just been told you always want to use marine oil for this. And I got Mercury's motors, and this oil's from Mercury, so I figure I can't go wrong. So anyway, I'll show you around what I got going on. So I got the bucket hooked up there. I got the wires, and it's hooked up over to the batteries, which is just on the other side. You can barely see them over there. I've already drained the this motor here. I got to do the oil filter, but this goes right up to the dipstick. You pull the oil right out of the dipstick. I'll show you the dipstick on the other motor. It's exactly the same here before. It's got a little brass fitting on there. Hose is supposed to screw on there. I didn't have any luck reaching down that far with the hose that I got. I may have to change that, but if I pressed it on real good, it seemed to work. So, and then it just pumps the oil out and fills that bucket up. So it's pretty easy. Oil filters are on oil filter adapters here on the motor. They're on the front. They're easy to get to. I just got to twist them off, and we'll be doing that in a few minutes too. So I'll switch the motor on. I don't have a camera person again. I had somebody here earlier. I forgot to ask if he would, and now I'm here by myself trying to do the camera too. So excuse I gotta watch it because I've already drained one motor in there. I'm hoping I got enough room in the bucket for the second motor. I want about 6 quarts to 2 gallons on each side, depending on how much I'm able to pull out of there. That's working right there off the battery. Maybe it's a few minutes. I don't know if you can hear it now, but this thing's making a weird gurgling sound, so I'm taking it that's probably about the end of the oil in the motor, so we're probably about done with this part. Change tunes. Always have plenty of rags on hand. I dropped the hose off the end before I had it hooked up and started leaking oil all over the floor that quick, you know. As careful as I am, I still make a mess. I don't know, oil is just terrible to deal with. So have plenty of rags on hand. Can never do this perfectly. We'll be changing oil filters in just a second. Alright. You can laugh at me if I make a mess, and I probably will. The oil wrench on there. Just twist counterclockwise. What I do is I try to put a bag underneath that. Let me see, am I going the right way? I gotta label this wrench one day. I think that's the right way. Yeah, there it goes. A little tough. When I get it to where I can get it with my hands, like I said, this is so hard not to make a mess. I double bag one of these little shopping bags. I just don't know how to do it any safer than this. Sometimes I'm lucky. Get a little shopping bag in here. I'm going to try to catch it. Use the oil in here. Oh, wrong way. Right back up. Well, let's see. Either a good educational video or funniest videos. Let's see what happens here. Now you don't want to spill out all the oil that's inside there. You want to dab a little bit on your finger, and when you put the new filter on, you want to put a little oil around the rubber seal. Let's see if I get it good. Off we go. In the bag, which is a little bit spilling out. Said you need rags handy. I'll tell you, you can't win. It's going to get you sooner or later. Let it drip on that rag. Hopefully I'll get the oil filter out, which I should have had handy. I use Mercury from the boat store. Oil filters. Also, you can see me leaning and laying on this engine a little bit. I try to stay off the plastics, watch the sensors on the motor as much as I can. Take a little oil on your finger. It's hard to see with the camera. I'm not holding the camera, so doing the best I can. Dab that on there. I'm going to start this filter up. I tighten it down. I'm a little weak-handed, so I tighten it hand tight. I give it about a quarter turn after that. That's usually about it with the wrench. I don't do too much. You got to take it off next year again, so just until you feel comfortable. It's snug, but not too tight. If you got a good grip, you probably can just do it by hand. It's just a little bit. So it's abrasion won't take it off. And that's it for the oil filter. Alright, well, so anyway, I didn't catch everything on film. It was kind of hard to maneuver around with the camera. Like I said, I filmed this by myself, so try to get a tripod down here to help out with a little bit of the tutorials that I'm doing here. But anyway, I poured the oil into the motor after I got done with the oil change, draining it out. change the filters out, and if you remember on a little bit ago I showed you put some oil on the finger, lube the gasket. Another thing with the oil filters too I didn't cover yet is sometimes when you take the oil filter off, the little rubber gasket might fall off, so be careful you do have that gasket off the oil filter. You don't want to put a new oil filter on top of an old gasket and have an oil leak. Another thing is, use a funnel when you pour the oil in, and don't forget to put your oil cap back on. Make sure you got your mess cleaned up as best you can. You may spill a little oil, you might have a little smoking and stuff, so try to get it cleaned up to avoid any of that situation. But very important, make sure the oil cap's on. When you're doing the oil filters, make sure you got the rubber seal off, and off the old oil filter, and the new filter just plain, just with the filter on it. That's about it. I'd like to thank you for watching. Subscribe, give me some comments. Doing what I can for you. Be coming up real soon. I'll be winterizing the water system coming up real soon, and we'll doing the hot water tank, the showers, the faucets, all the plumbing lines that are in the boat. We are going to flush them out with some antifreeze and slowly getting the boat ready for storage for the winter. Time of this video, I'm filming it, and we're coming up to the end of September now, so it won't be too long. I'll be pulling the boat out. Certain things I can do, like sometimes it's a little easier to do while it's still in the water, and then after I do the water system there, I will be pulling it out shortly after that. We'll do a video on winterizing the engines, which is always challenging. That's a big job, and it's something you want to do right. But we'll winterize the engines, and I wouldn't try it unless you're confident you can do it, because if you winterize your engines, you can crack a block or whatever. But we'll talk about this more in the later videos, but one step at a time. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll keep them coming as long as you're watching. Thank you.